because I'm TNT. I'm dynamite. TNT. And I'll win the fight. TNT. I'm a power load. TNT. Watch me explode. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Etho Blaster 9000, and to what is hopefully going to become one of our most powerful weapons in our quest to dominate the log market on the HermitCraft server. For the past few weeks, my dudes, I've been struggling to keep up with the booming demand for logs on the server from my log shop. Looks like the Hermits are needing a ton of wood out there at Hermitville, so this week I took it upon myself to build another epic redstone log factory for Big Logs Corporation. And while this one isn't fully automatic like Impulse's, it does explode stuff rather gloriously. Not only that, this monstrosity is capable of farming every tree type in the game, and that, my friends, is sweet, considering the countless hours I've spent here on Big Logs Industrial Island chopping down dark oak wood trees. So why the Etho Blaster 9000? Well, this actually isn't my design. All credit goes to one of my favorite Minecrafters of all time, Etho, who very recently came up with this genius machine on his Minecraft LP series. And Etho's tree farm turned out so awesome, I couldn't wait to build it for myself here on the HermitCraft server, although Etho's version is definitely way better than mine, that's for sure. So how exactly does this thing work? Well, it's rather genius in its simplicity. The idea is that with a single button click, we are simultaneously priming a block of TNT from a dispenser, and then after a controlled delay, dropping that TNT into the center of a freshly bone meal tree configuration. Depending on the delay applied, the TNT will explode at varying heights, starting from the bottom of the tree all the way up to the top. And this means that with a little bit of control, you can blow up an entire tree without losing very many blocks in the process. It's actually kind of sweet. Oh, and the reason this is now a viable form of log farming in Minecraft is because TNT no longer destroys blocks when it explodes in 1.14. And that means after a fresh tree column has been completely exploded, we can use a hopper minecart system underneath to collect all of the logs, leaves, sticks, saplings, and apples that the TNT breaks with each explosion. And while this might not be the most efficient or automatic tree farm that you can build, it is by far the most fun way to get yourself a ton of logs with big bada booms, in my opinion. And if I'm going to spend hours and hours gathering logs for Big Logs Inc., I'd much rather do it with TNT. You know what I'm saying? Whoa! What the heck? Well, that was definitely one of the weirdest deaths that I've ever experienced in Minecraft, guys. That sound after I fell out of the bed and I guess knocked my head. But anyway, guys, after that crazy introduction, I think we need to get back into some actual Minecrafting over here, and I can think of no better way than to take you guys through an actual run of the Etho Blaster 9000. I've actually been using this thing all day long simply because it is just so much fun to do. I love it. As you can see, I've already managed to collect quite a lot of logs from the machine, which is amazing, but it does have some rather interesting quirks that you need to follow when you're using this thing. So I'm going to take you guys through it step by step. Okay, so first step out here, guys, is to produce the tree configuration that I mentioned in the introduction. And what I've done over here is created a kind of star formation where we can plant our different tree types. For the mega trees like jungle, dark oak wood, and spruce, we've done it this way so that we can create a nice central point over here where that TNT is going to be dropping into, and not having those mega trees form a full 9x9 means that the TNT can actually take out the majority of the logs. We are going to be mining a little bit of birch tree action over here, and the first thing that we need to do is get these birch trees planted. So some saplings, some bone meal like so. Alright, so we've essentially planted 16 birch trees over here, guys, 4 for each of these segments, and next step is to go up there and prime the Etho Blaster 9000. I'm going to make a bubble vator or something to make this task a little bit easier, but for now, using a rocket actually does a pretty good job. But before we can unleash any TNT into our trees, we need to make sure that the TNT can get all the way to the bottom of the tree configuration over here. I've got a chest with some shears, and all we need to do here, of course, is to fall down into the very center of the tree like that, and then use these shears to dig down to the bottom. Once we hit that obsidian, we know that we've hit the bottom, and I usually just dig my way out like this. Right, trees are ready to be exploded. Now comes the really fun bit. So I'm not going to go into too much detail for the redstone over here, guys, because it is pretty simple, to be honest with you. When we hit this button, this redstone cable is priming that dispenser, and this dispenser is full of TNT, or we need to make sure that it's full of TNT. So the dispenser gets a redstone pulse, which primes one of the TNTs, and that TNT drops down into a block below the dispenser and gets held in place by this sticky piston over here. The second redstone pulse from the button gets delayed by this repeater string over here, and then gets boosted a little bit by this comparator setup, and that will eventually trigger this piston, which lowers this redstone block and retracts this sticky piston, thus releasing the TNT into the tree formation below. Now this control panel over here is all about tick speed control, and depending on the tick speed of your server or your single player world, these repeater delays will need to be adjusted. Basically, the concept is very, very simple. The faster the redstone signal gets to the piston, the lower the TNT will explode at the very bottom of the tree configuration. So over here we have the first position, and if we prime it over here like this, you will see that that TNT is going to explode basically at the very base of the birch tree configuration. Number 2 over here, of course, is going to explode a little bit above the last explosion, and that is because the delay to the piston is a little bit longer over there. We can actually trigger the other ones too, just to see where they explode. So the third row over here is going to be about there, the fourth row is going to be just above that one, and then the fifth one, which is only really used for spruce and for jungle trees, is going to explode just below the bell, and that's why we've got the obsidian to stop any damage happening over there. I did have to remake this thing about 6 or 7 times when I first set it up, guys, especially on these longer delays, because if you set the delay for too long, then the TNT actually explodes inside of the bell and does a whole bunch of damage. But it's working absolutely perfectly. I've not broken or lost anything so far since I've got it into this configuration, which is amazing. And it looks like this run destroyed every single log block. Usually there's a couple of logs left here in the tree configuration, which you just come down and mine. And of course we do lose a little bit of dirt down here, but that is totally okay. I don't mind replacing dirt, saplings and bone meal to get for myself a ton of beautiful logs without having to sit there with an axe, spending hours upon hours every single week chopping down trees so hermits can build things. Etho Blaster 9000, I love you. Hey Ren, it's your neighbor False here. Hey Falsey, just wanted to write you a quick note about some rumors I'd heard regarding your base. That sounds intriguing. There is speaker vermin running around like they own the place, and that you yourself are okay with this. Well, there is definitely a giant rat that lives in this area now, although he was once a human, kind of. As not to have my own area infested with such creatures, I ask that you use the housing I've provided to store them in a safe environment, away from me. It's secondhand though, so you'll have to mind the smell. Secondhand? What was living in there before? Your concern, neighbor. False. Well, that certainly is an interesting turn of events, my friends. It looks like our neighbor Falsimetry has caught wind, so to speak, of Tomato Yoshi. Perhaps Tomato needs to get himself into a shower at some point. But I'm happy to announce that Mr. Yoshi has in fact been enjoying his humble abode of enlightenment for the last couple of days. So big thanks to False, although it is starting to get quite annoying how many times he rings that freaking bell. I gotta tell you guys, geez. But anywhoozle guys, I'm sure we'll hear more from Sensei Tomato Yoshi a little bit later on in this episode. But for now, I am super excited to be back here at the Rendog Dojo. Oh baby, my dudes, we've been cooking with gas out here the last few days. And as you can see, I have made a ton of progress on the dojo since the last episode. Aside from successfully installing all of the sugar dragons into the dojo courtyard, I'm very proud to announce, guys, that the redstone for this place is now completed and looking absolutely amazing. I've also been spending a little bit of time this week working on the outer walls of the dojo because I was kind of worried that our redstone for the sugar dragons was going to make the wall too thick. However, Itzgal85 came to my rescue and taught me a little bit about redstone and how to use observer blocks to create vertical redstone cables, which is exactly what I have got going on over here. So last episode, we installed these little sugarcane farms, which is a piston triggered by an observer block. And now all I have done, instead of having all of this redstone cable running all over the show, I've got a chain of observers looking at that piston. So as soon as that piston fires, a redstone signal is sent via this observer chain down to the, well, the basement of the Dog Dojo. But as you can see, it's kind of complicated down here, guys, and we've already done a ton of redstone in today's episode. So next episode, I'm going to explain to you guys exactly what is going on down here. The good news is, though, that every single one of our sugar dragons is producing sugarcane out the wazoo, and so far, I've collected 41 sugarcane. Nice! You know, guys, one of the most fascinating things for me about working on big projects like this is that you kind of feel like you're not really getting anywhere. Do you guys know what I'm saying? I've been working on this dojo all week long, and when the day comes to an end, I feel like I've achieved so much, but then I wake up the next morning and I realize I still have so much to do. But I guess that's just one of the major challenges when doing big projects in Minecraft, right? I think it's also one of the reasons why when you finish a massive project like this, it just feels so amazing, right? You get such a sense of achievement, such a beautiful rush of adrenaline as you see your build come together. My goodness, I do love this game. So I thought we could kick things off today here at the Dog Dojo, working a little bit on the courtyard of this very fine build. And as you can see, making some pretty decent progress out here. It's almost the same as the way that I made it in our creative world. However, I have done a couple of interesting tweaks. The first one being the stuff that lies underneath this platform over here. As you can see, I've added some really nice little light features here, and I've been bone mealing some foliage down here. The reason for this is, well, it's kind of pointless, but at the same time, I think it's kind of important. I want to be able to see foliage and light underneath the dojo platform when we actually come into the dojo itself, right? And in the creative version of it, it doesn't really have that sort of thing. I've been making those kind of tweaks quite a lot as I've been working on this project, and I think it's very important that if you are going to design builds in your creative worlds first, I think it's very important that you make sure to allow for tweakage when you come to the final build. Now, don't get me wrong, guys, I think if you want to become a really good builder in Minecraft, you do need to spend a lot of time in a creative test world, and you need to sketch your builds out before you start putting them in survival. But I also feel that you should definitely be open to changing things as you work on the build in survival. And the way that I sort of go about doing that is that I don't look at my creative world anymore once I have made the sketch. I try and build the thing from memory. And if you do that, it's kind of like you're building the project from scratch again with the original idea in your mind, but it does allow you to start making a few tweaks. You know, when you're building something in creative, you can get a little bit lazy, right? Because it's so easy to do stuff, and maybe you forget some details here and there, and in survival, because it takes a little bit longer, you get a little bit more time to spot those details and to get those details back into your builds. But it looks like we're making some excellent progress here in the courtyard of the dojo, my dudes. Just finished installing the platform around the fighting mat. And for those of you guys who are wondering about the fighting mat, well, of course, it is a nice big square of scaffolding blocks, which really does look like some sort of a ninjutsu mat of some kind. I love it. And underneath it, we've got some stripped bark logs too, surrounded by some stripped acacia logs. And I think that gives the absolute perfect feel for a dojo in a Minecraft. But yeah, good progress so far, my dudes.
Hello, young ones. I am your sensei, Tomato Yoshi, and welcome to my humble abode of enlightenment. This wonderful place of meditation was built for me by student False Symmetry, and within its walls I have spent many moons fine-tuning my ninjutsu skills. Remember, young ones, The path to enlightenment is long and treacherous, but with disciplined training, even the most deadly foes of fear can be defeated. Now, if you'll excuse me, young ones, your sensei Tomato Yoshi has some body training to attend to. Konnichiwa!
And in other spicy news of the netherwort variety, I have now successfully produced an insane amount of red nether bricks. Take a look at this, guys. I think I have about 6 full shulker boxes of red nether brick, and my goodness, it took me so long to get all of these resources here, guys. All of the smelting that we did last episode, all of the nether wart collecting, it is now completed, and we should now have more than enough red nether brick to get on with one of today's tasks, which is, of course, to throw a roof onto the Dog Dojo. Now, that is a glorious sight indeed, fellow builders. An inventory filled with super expensive building blocks, red nether bricks coming out the wazoo right now, guys. And that means finally, after a week of resource gathering, I can start working on the roof of the dojo over here. I've just put in the first pattern of the roof design, and of course what we're trying to go for is a little bit of a scoop over here, right, to try and emulate that Japanese look that we've got going on over there in Dragon Tower. And I've just realized that this build is actually going to be a little bit easier than I thought, guys, because I've made sure the dojo is 100% symmetrical for feng shui reasons. It's actually going to be super easy to get this roof installed because every single segment of the roof is exactly the same. So I tell you what, let's smash into a little bit of a time lapse, shall we? And during this time lapse, I just wanted to take a moment to say a massive thank you to all of you guys out there who have been supporting the series over the last month or so. I can honestly say that when I started this whole YouTube adventure about 10 years ago or so, I never in my wildest imagination believed that I would be getting the amount of views and support that the series has been receiving over the last few weeks. Guys, it is just truly mind-blowing, and I am just so exceptionally proud of what we are building here on the Rendog channel, as well as my incredible community that lives on my fan server and on my Discord. You guys are all absolutely amazing, and guys, I'm just in such a fantastic place in life right now. There was one point where my channel was almost dead, and now it is doing better than ever before. And I didn't think that that was actually possible. So a massive thank you to each and every single one of you for the incredible support, guys. Words cannot truly express my gratitude because you guys have literally changed my life. Thank you so much, guys. Dragon Dojo roof number 1 now completed and looking snaztastic, if I do say so myself. Of course, my dudes, we have another roof to build for this project, the really difficult and massive one that's going to be in the middle of the dojo. But unfortunately, I think we're probably going to have to wait for the next episode to get that one done. I have been working on this particular episode now for quite a number of days, and I would very much like to get it out to you guys ASAP. So I'm going to plant a couple of flowers all the way around the center of the dojo here. Another nice little touch, right? I love the way that the pink of this flower looks with the different wood types in here. And guys, I gotta say, I'm really happy with how the dojo is turning out. It looks so fantastic from here. Seeing Dragon Tower in the background, we really do have something special brewing out here in the Fantasy District, guys. I'm absolutely loving it. And that's the last of the pretty pink flowers now added to the dojo, guys. And man, they are certainly bringing a sense of serenity to this place and a very powerful odor of enlightenment, if you know what I'm saying. I'm sure Tomato Yoshi would very much approve of the progress that we have made in his dojo today. Unfortunately though, there are still so many things to do in this project, guys. Insane amounts of detail to be added. We got to get the water in. We got to get a massive roof added over the fighting mat over here. But unfortunately, my friends, we have run out of time in today's episode. I've already spent way too long making this video this week, so I do want to get it out to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Smash the like button like nobody's business. And if you haven't subscribed yet, well, please do consider subscribing so you can keep up to date with everything that is going on in the life and times of Rendiggity Tomato Yoshi Rendog. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll smell you all in the next episode.